everybody. This is episode 102 of Mastering Local Marketing. He's Matt Hansen. How you doing, Matt?
I'm good.
I'm Jim Deedlow. We're recording this right before Christmas of 2025, and Matt Hansen is the producer. Well, no. Adriana Alvarez is the producer. Matt Hansen is the content provider. And I'm just like a wind-up toy that you just put a little wind-up in my back and I start talking. And I don't get much leeway here, but it is going into Christmas. So just for a few minutes, I want to take a little bit. And I want to ask
you. I feel a Jim tangent coming on.
You, the digital marketing professor.
Yep.
Everybody around here looks to you as the digital marketing guru. You've been in this perhaps longer than anybody in this whole quadrant of the Chicago area. Tell us something we don't know about you.
Oh, goodness. I have no idea. Something that you don't know about me. Give me some context.
All right, better yet, let's tone it down. Tell us something you don't want us to know about you.
Don't want to. Okay. Well, here. Better yet, I was having this conversation yesterday. So, my daughter's going through applying for schools, right? And everyone always says, "Oh, she's such a smart child," and all this other stuff. And now, again, my daughter, huge GPA, has done well on both the SAT and the ACT and all of that. Just got a accepted. She's been accepted so far to 3 schools. The last one was
she'll choose the most expensive.
Yeah, well,
mine all did.
Notre Dame came in on Wednesday.
Oh, there you go. Way to go, man.
$80,000 a year.
And they don't give.
Yeah,
they don't give like some of the others do.
I know. So the thing that I was laughing about yesterday is everybody was kind of like coming in because they had seen that my wife had posted this out, that she got accepted and all this. And they're like, "Oh, you must be so proud. She doesn't fall far from the tree." And I'm like, if you're pointing at me, don't point at me, because in high school, I did not get great grades. I was one where it was like BCs. I was focused on production class, which was our marketing. We built like all the marketing stuff for all the schools and everything, and did a lot of design work. And I was a baseball player. Like, I always joke that she takes this calculus and physics and all this other stuff, and I always say, I took advanced classes. I took advanced art and advanced gym, and and so it's funny because
the business classes in high school, you probably took some of those.
We didn't have.
What is advanced gym?
Advanced gym is like the next level. It was.
Is this like just dodgeball, but with like basketballs instead of the actual like soft dodgeballs?
Well, it was. You had to jump in the pool and fully clothed, and then stay floating for 10 minutes. You had to run like sub 6 miles. I mean, it was just like all of this kind of stuff. So it was next level.
It's usually for that kind of thing is like you play a sport and the teacher and you're kind of there's a little more to it than just going into advanced gym.
So you went to preschool boot camp is what I'm hearing.
It's exactly. So we would play floor hockey. I remember at one time, like everybody in the class broke something because it was so competitive. And I remember watching one guy actually body slam somebody in a floor hockey game. So it was an interesting thing. Where I'm going with this is
no, but that is interesting. Was the guy injured?
No, it was a rubber floor. So
he threw him down on the wrestling mat.
Yeah, essentially. So it was just kind of funny. But I always joke that I didn't take learning serious until about in between my junior and senior year of high school, because I went and I worked in a manufacturing facility and started like literally putting things together and sweating and realizing like I don't want to do this the rest of my life. And that was kind of the direction, the fact that like I didn't think about school and all this other stuff. So the funny part now is that I work at a university and I'm doing all of this training, and I've taken marketing to that next level. So to me, it's funny because everyone always comes, "Oh, they haven't fallen far from the tree." I'm like, you don't want to know who, sophomore Matt Hansen was in school, because he did not think about, getting good grades and all that type of stuff. So I guess that's probably one thing that I kind of hide a little bit, but I'll throw it out there.
Where did you go to college?
I was at P&W.
So when it was Purdue Cal,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're teaching there.
Right. They didn't let me go. For whatever reason, they said you should teach, and I said they were crazy. So here I am.
I guess this does apply to this podcast, Mastering Local Marketing. You said that you were attracted in high school to production and marketing at that point.
Yeah, we had this class, and it's funny because the guys that were in the class with me all ended up in marketing positions, various different things. A lot of them are in digital at this point, but we would do a lot of design work on the computers. We were running printing presses, right? So we were running all the stationery and anything for booklets. Like you go to a school, we'll call it a recital or whatever it is, a band concert. We were the ones printing all of that stuff and putting it all together. So we had, the printing press that would print it, and then we'd have to staple it, and we'd create these plates and all that. We had a photography room and all this, but I used to spend like 5-6 hours in there just working on things, and it was just how creative could you get? We were making T-shirts and screen printing and all this other stuff, but that was where I first started realizing that marketing, and I didn't even know it at that point that was technically marketing. That's when I started getting involved in it, right? So I guess long story here is I've been out of school for a very long time. I graduated back in 94, and from then until now, and what I know and what I've developed in marketing is completely different. I mean, obviously you don't know whole lot of things in high school, but I guess what I'm saying is experience, taking chances, getting dirty, have all kind of led down a path to where I am today.
So a lot of people listening are probably jealous of that. Many of the entrepreneurs and many of the people that own their own businesses or run a marketing department in maybe a family-owned business, that kind of thing, they maybe didn't grow up with that love of marketing and this. I mean, you could tell everything about you is marketing. We just had a conversation in between here, and you couldn't do it without analyzing it like a marketer. Okay, so the average small and business, the average business person is like, gosh, I'm not that person. I'll never be that person. So they may come to it later. They may have already built a whole business, and now they're looking like, man, it's big enough now. I got to give some money to marketing, and I got to think about it. How does somebody who's been doing this, and maybe they're 42 years old, they built a nice little business, and all of a sudden they got to make that change?
I think if you've built a business already, you're doing marketing. You understand it, right? It's like you can't build a business without understanding marketing. Whether you put the efforts that you're putting out there and put them to equal marketing, that's one thing, right? I mean, if you're out there and you're meeting with customers, you're meeting with potential investors, you're developing your storefront, you're developing a website. I mean, all of that is marketing. Every single contact point that you have with a consumer is marketing. And you're marketing every day, right? So you're constantly selling yourself to others, or they're selling them, their services or things that they do. Like think about, if you were working in a job and you go into a meeting, and if you're not smart enough here, you're going to end up doing all the work, right? I see this a lot with student projects, and I always joke. Students will come to me and they'll say, "Oh, I've got this team, and there's 4 of us, and I'm going to do all the work." And I'll look at them and I go, "Why are you doing all the work?" "Well, I just don't. I don't trust what they're doing." And I said, "So you're taking on the work. They've sold you that they're not going to do the work to your standards, and you're accepting that. So they've sold you." And they're like, "Well, yeah, but no," and you just kind of get that conversation going. And I say, "All right, why don't you go back and have a conversation with them and say, all right, I understand that this is too big for you to fully do yourself, but here's something that I think you can take on. It's very simple. Use these 3, sources to do this, and come back with this, and we'll look at it together," right? Push the work back. again, that's selling, which is marketing, and we all know that that's what we do every day. If you own a business and you're trying to get product, well, somebody's going to sell you product at a certain price, and somebody's going to sell you much cheaper and more expensive and all this other stuff. So you've got to negotiate, right? Negotiations are part of marketing. So there's all these different things that you're doing on a daily basis, whether it's just having a conversation with your spouse, your friends, your coworkers, or if you're actually out there shopping, you're having marketing conversations. You understand what marketing is. I'm sitting here today and I'm wearing a shirt or a coat that's got College of Business on it. Am I marketing? Of course. That's why they buy them for us. So we are out there.
Can I get one, by the way?
I can put you in touch with Sam. Sure.
All right.
Yep. But that's what I mean. Like, we wear things. We're marketing, right? You're talking about your boots all the time. You've probably talked about your boots I'm
going to have to contact Thursday Boots.
Right?
I believe in them.
Make it 9 now, right?
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, exactly.
I wear them. You guys can see them, and they're beat up a little bit, but I'll just go down the street here, and Javier will resole them.
Yeah.
I've got a pair of Thursday Boots that I left in a hotel room that had been resold 7 times.
Yeah.
But anyways, go ahead.
But that's what I mean. Like, we're all marketers.
No,
we all
I don't buy
are.
that. I don't buy it
All right,
because I know.
Are you saying that you're not a marketer?
I'm saying that right now, and Matt and I are working together on our marketing. I said to people, I go, for 5 years, we're going to build this company, and we're not going to worry about it. I'll find the investors, and I'll fund it, and we'll go through it. But at the end of this 5 years, we're going to turn to marketing, which is the worst strategy possible, just so you know. But now I feel like I'm so excited. I wake up in the morning, and I want to be in marketing. It's like I got to this long in the tooth, and I'm like into it where you got it when you were a teenager. I never once thought about marketing. Now I'm thinking about it all the time. I'm thinking about what are these guys doing? Why are they doing that? I'm seeing some of the big companies around here buying a bunch of ads on social that they should be doing some of that with us. I would have never thought in that terms before. So the reason I'm bringing that out is that people are listening to this podcast and they're like, God, I'm kind of getting into it a little. I kind of get what they're talking about. It's okay to admit you didn't never really care about it, and now you do.
Well, caring and knowing about it are two different things, right? So what you're saying is you've put a spotlight on your marketing at this point. But you said just a minute ago that you launched a company, right? So the Sports Network, Heartland Sports Network. You launched it, and it was named something else, right? You've done the rebrand, but
you
launched
did the
it,
rebrand.
But you launched it, and you said you had to get investors. You had to have your team buy-in. You had to have a bunch of different people all part of it, right? Did you do it by yourself?
Oh, absolutely not.
Absolutely not. So you sold the idea to others to help you build it.
There's probably 12 major stakeholders.
Okay. So those 12 people have bought into you to build this. That's not sales?
Well, yeah, I guess so.
Right?
I guess it is sales.
Like if you came to me today and said, I've got this idea and I'm going to launch it in 5 years. Okay.
I just did in the break.
I know, but what I'm saying is you're telling me about it in the hopes that I can validate what. No, you're not going to explain it to me without the validation side of it, right?
Okay. Yeah,
right?
You're right.
Right. So you built Heartland Sports Network. The validation is coming now because you're out there talking to people. But for 5 years, you've been selling it without you even knowing it. You said you have investors. You've got additional investors that are looking to get into it as well. You talk to people around you on a constant basis, right? Like you go talk to the schools. You weren't anything without the schools, so you sold the schools on it, right? Because you got 25 schools now part of it.
We had to sell 25 different superintendent athletic directors, yes.
So you walk into the 80s. You didn't just go, hey, we're building this thing. And then stop with that.
Yeah, you're right.
So
okay.
you're marketing.
You're right. I specifically, and I imagine that others that are not born marketers like you that are 14 years old and sophomore in high school and I'm just like, into marketing. we don't think of it in those terms. I think of marketing as putting out the message, maybe paid ads of some sort, so that I can sell advertising. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all I think of marketing. All these other things you're bringing in are not what I would consider marketing.
So what you're saying is I look at things differently, right?
You do.
I do. So when you say running ads, doing stuff like that, that's 5% of marketing.
Are you listening to this, or are you doing your homework?
She's doing her homework. No, just kidding. She doesn't have any homework. She doesn't have my class until next semester.
Yeah.
That's 5% of marketing. All right, I'm going to bring this one out, and typically Adriana just is like pay no attention to the person behind the curtain. But I'm going to tell you what he told me. Mm-hmm. He said, you know that podcast network you're doing? Adriana's taking my class this semester. It'll be entirely different by the end of the semester.
Oh, probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually,
I need to know why you said that.
Because right now what you're focused on is the production and getting the people in. Mm-hmm. What you're going to end up doing next semester is you're going to start looking and analyzing what's happening and then testing things, right? So you're not testing anything right now necessarily. There's a couple different podcasts that you are, but overall the conversation that you're going to have to new people that are coming into the network is going to be different than what it is today. Today it's about awareness, build your own thing, right? Tell your own content, those types of things. It'll be the planning stage in the future. You'll be going, okay, what's the niche? Who's the customer? What is the message that you're trying to get out, right? So again, our focus is local small business, doing marketing, trying to get them out there, giving them 1, 2, 3 things to kind of bite on and run and go do. We have a very specific mission as to what we're trying to do. Others, you have to go, all right, what do you want to do? What do you want to get out of this? Who's your audience? Is it big? Is it small? Right? Like we just got the Spotify results, and we look at it and it's the top 5 countries. Okay, number 1 was the U.S., of course. Mm-hmm. Number 2 was Ireland.
Oh, it wasn't.
Would you have seen that coming?
I thought it was Australia.
No, they were 5.
Yeah, I thought we were very popular.
But that's what I mean. Yeah. Like this is where you start to look into it. So again, what I'm saying
Shout out to Ireland. Thank you guys.
What I'm saying is the fact that you start to learn more and more things, but your idea of marketing is literally ads and
limited.
It's so much more than that. It's literally every single thing you do. It's every touch point. And the dead air is Jim thinking, just letting you know.
I am thinking because, I forgot what I was going to say. Well, but, I don't. I think of doing this podcast, I took your class. I've had a business for all these years. And you are making me realize new avenues to think. And I don't know what happened, but at one point I really was against selling and against marketing and doing all of that. And at some point, maybe it's out of necessity, but I don't think so. I'm pretty much do what I want. I can't tell you how much I want to get up and go do the numbers that this guy has. All right, let me give you a real world example. Yesterday, my buddy is kind of a big executive at a place, and he calls and he says, "Hey, I'll buy this stuff here. It's end of year money." And I go, "Okay, thank you." I go, "Well, what happened with this major proposal with your company?" And finally, he goes, "All right, I'm just going to tell you. You don't present your numbers well, right, and you don't tell your story. I get a feeling that it's a really good story, and we would, and our people are just like, we can't take that kind of convoluted, presentation of your numbers to others. We get all of these proposals in, and they're all spot on, and they're very, succinct on what they're going to do. But it may be that you have a better product. Mm-hmm. Honestly, it's the local product. These are all non-locals. Yeah. And he's like, you need to go back and you need to do your numbers. And I'm arguing with my buddy. I'm like, what are you talking about? We do this, this, and this. And then I realize he's telling me something. So I bring it into my guys, and then they're arguing with me, right? And then what I realized, without thinking about it at first, I didn't get it until you said this. You said, well, it sounds like they're changing positions on the funnel. And if you remember the funnel, it's awareness. Middle of the funnel is what? Consideration. And then the bottom of the funnel is close.
Yep.
If you remember anything else out of this podcast, you go to me, you go, well, it sounds like they're going from awareness to consideration. And I'm like, God, here I am arguing with my buddy and telling him he's full of shiitake mushrooms. And he was giving me invaluable input. And I won't apologize to him because he's him. But
He was trying to close the sale, and you weren't listening.
Yes,
That's exactly what he was doing. He told you exactly.
You would have if you would have came out of that
I would have said
discussion with a bunch of money, and instead I closed it down, and I'm not gonna heal it until we go golfing, okay? But he was right. He gave us, and then you and I talked about it for an hour, and you basically came around. Well, this is what we need to do. He has given me homework, Adriana, about how to aggregate our numbers and present them.
So,
where do you get out of that?
Well, that conversation is interesting. It was interesting to me because you are used to a certain customer, and I am used to two different types of customers. And what you're doing is this sports network is now elevating into that second tier of customers. And I'm not saying tiers as in, good, bad. I'm saying in terms of the size of the buy. And when you get to a next level customer, they have different demands. And the demands that they have is it's not just, I know who you're talking about. It's not a single entrepreneur that owns a single location. It is somebody that has a team of marketers. It is somebody that has bosses above them. And somewhere along the line, somebody's going to be asking for this. And they can't make that buy until you can provide XYZ. And I told you about some people that I've dealt with in the last 2 years that they wanted certain numbers, they had to see certain things, and I spent like crazy because they had to do this and do that, but I had to justify everything by bringing those numbers back every single month, putting them into a nice little report so they could see them, and as soon as I handed it to them, they would look at it, and 2 minutes later, they're like, okay, great. And that was the end of it, right? So what you're saying here, based on your conversation, is you've reached that next tier of buy, larger money, a little bit more demanding, wants to see what's going on. But if you can just provide that one simple thing, it's sold. And that's really what it was all about.
Did you get that? By the way, Joe Cimino's calling me.
I'll let him know you're on the air right now.
So we veered off. Episode 102 is going to be Slapstick Jed. But I want you guys to understand one thing, that if you listen to what Hanson's saying, here's another example. I hate to do this now to my wife, but we go to Showplace and we go to see movies once a month, right? And now we go and I'm predicting what the script is going to do and where they're going to take the movie. I go, yeah, we got to come back to that other character that we had, and then that person's probably the killer or something like that. She's like, why are you doing this? But what I realize is that you're basically working in predicting behavior. That's what you do.
Yeah.
And now, once you start thinking like that, and I hope it doesn't happen to you, Adriana, because all of a sudden you're going to be like with your friends and like, oh, I know what she's going to say and that kind of thing. But I'm starting to think in terms of predictive elements.
Well, you're a former trader, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you look at predictability and what's going to happen.
Risk,
right? So you think you know what's going to happen, and you look at trends, right? We know that typically in this time frame leading up to Christmas that the markets are going to do well, right? We know that every single year that I forget the term they call it, but it's basically you're going to see some increase, and then when it gets over the hump, then we go back down, right? I think I looked at the markets today and they were down a little bit, right? We know that, but there's so many things that when you become good at marketing, you can predict things that are going to happen. Like you will be able to do X and Y will happen. And when my kids were little, I used to do this. I'm like, watch this. And I would say something and I go, this is what's going to happen. And they just start laughing at me. They're like, how do you know that's going to happen? And I said, it's just, if you understand people really well, you know that we're kind of all the same and that we're going to react in similar fashions, right? So again, going back to your trading, if you're reading about a company that's booming on some news service, let's say you go over to like Yahoo News or something like that, and you're reading about it, like, oh, you've got to get into this company, it's too late, right? If it's in the news, it's too late. So what people will come to me with trading advice, and like, I read about this article. I see there's like 3 or 4 articles recently that were published on. I go, you're too late. Don't even bother. And I'm right on that.
Oh, actually, you want those people to come into the market.
Yeah, because they're going to boost it, and then you're going to sell it
give
off.
Up the edge and all that. Yeah, don't be doing that. Every time your dentist is working on your teeth, and he's like, "Man, I think I should buy this stock." Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. It's going to make me more money as I sell it off, and you're buying. Yeah, no, but that's what I mean. Like, there's so many different ways that you can look at this, and there's predictability. So when you get into marketing, you start to understand these types of things. You will actually start to be able to predict things. And the story that we talk about in marketing, you're telling a story, you're going to a movie, you're looking for, they introduced this character and they disappeared. Okay, they're coming back. They're part of the final part of this. I call that the dropping the keys, right? Like somebody's walking down the street, they drop their wallet, they drop their keys, and then you don't hear anything about it. You're like, why did they do that? Well, somebody took the keys later, opened up the door, found the, whatever, and that's what's helped solve it, right? So we're telling stories, and if you understand how to tell those stories, you can start to tell the stories and push people in directions. And I love giving presentations because I won't show you other characters in that story on purpose. It's like my students were giving a presentation to me last week or 2 weeks ago, and they're like, oh, well, this target audience is really really active on TikTok and Snapchat. And you listen to those presentations. TikTok and Snapchat weren't even in their case study that they could use. And I'm going, well, why did you mention those? It's like introducing a character that you're never going to, like, there's no closure here. Why are you introducing that? And they don't get that yet because they're still students, right? But don't introduce things that aren't driving people towards where you want them to go. So what you're trying to do is lay 1, 2, 3, 4 things in a row that are driving them towards that. So your buddy is asking you for those reports. And all he had to say was, I will cut you a check tomorrow if you had these reports, is what he was telling you, right? So when you sat down yesterday and you're talking to your team and you're talking to me, literally I'm telling you, those reports have to get done now, and you have to send those back over and go, all right, we took your advice. This is what we've got. We wanted to make sure that you're getting what you needed. Like, that's you listening to your customers, and your customers are going to appreciate that.
Unscripted, Matt Hansen. Unscripted, Adriana Alvarez, who is evidently going to be a master marketing person of a podcast network by the end of next semester.
That's a big ask right there. I'm not promising that.
Yeah, I was about to say, we might just get a few more downloads.
Yeah.
We'll start from there. I was actually recruiting people for your class.
There you go.
Because they were just like, oh, yeah, I had this person, this professor. I was just like, take Hanson's classes. He's cool. Do that one. Yeah.
Are you kidding? Do you know how he grades? Literally.
They're going to learn so much from him, though.
Obviously know all about grade inflation. He doesn't.
No. You earn an A in my class.
There you
go. I'm serious. And I've done his classes.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm me, and I got a B+ on one of them.
Yeah.
And I did everything. I thought I had it all right. And then he showed me, this little bit here and this little bit there. So when you're producing our show and you're doing your homework, I'll know why.
Hey, it's the last semester of my undergrad college career. I say that because I don't know if I'll do grad school or not later on. But at that point, senioritis was kicking so much. I'm like, C's get degrees at this point.
Ooh. Don't ever. That's like throwing water on a wicked witch over here. Hey, this has been episode 102. She's Adriana Alvarez. Please go check her podcast network out. It's just right in WJOB Podcast Network, and she's got like 20 podcasts now. And that if you want to tell us what you want us to talk about, you can get a hold of Matt by
just email me at matt@masteringlocalmarketing.com.
Until next time, see you later.